Alright, so I just beat Harry Potter, Hogwarts Legacy, and platinumed it. Took over 60 hours, probably 70 hours total, to do everything in the game. So I think I'm prepared to talk about it. This game came out a few months ago, and I'm just now beating it. This game was made by Avalanche Game Studios. They're responsible for the Just Cause series, which I love. That's what made me discover them. And they also made the Mad Max game and Rage 2, funny enough, which Rage 2 and Mad Max, those games are very good. And this Hogwarts Legacy game reminds me a lot of that Mad Max game, where they take a popular IP and then make a giant open world with it, with tons of details, tons of universe Easter eggs, just lots of love and care for the franchise they're building the game around. And, I knew they were going to do a good job with Hogwarts Legacy because of all the love they showed for Mad Max. And I'm not even a big Mad Max fan. I'm not a huge fan of that movie franchise. Like, I've seen all the movies, but that game really blew me away. And same thing here with Hogwarts Legacy. Like, if you love the Harry Potter world, you're going to love this game, without a doubt. I saw, a lot of people complaining about the repetitive, gameplay and stuff. But honestly, I like the gameplay loop in this game. And I feel like this game doesn't overstay its welcome. I obviously played it for over 60 hours to get all the trophies, to get the platinum. But I imagine most people wouldn't do that. Most people probably pick one house and play through the story and beat it. And they probably won't do all the side missions and stuff. So if you do that, it's probably less than 50 hours to beat this game. So I don't feel like it overstays its welcome. Honestly, I didn't really get tired of the gameplay loop at all. I like the combat. I thought the combat was really good, actually. Very engaging. And there were times I was getting a little tired of the combat. And when that happens, you could just go to stealth mode and take all the enemies out in stealth. And you could play the game like that for a long time until you get tired of that. Then you can go back to the combat. So there's different ways to play the game, which I appreciate a lot. I love the detail of the Hogwarts castle specifically. I was probably in that castle for a good 10 hours just running around and getting all the pages and all the little secrets in the castle. You have to, if you want to platinum in this game, you have to start the game with all four houses, right? You have to be in Slytherin, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Gryffindor. You have to start the game in all four houses to get a trophy in each one of those houses. It's only for just starting the game. You only got to play for 2 hours in each house, right? If you want the platinum. And I highly recommend everybody do it just to see each house, just to see inside of each house because it's pretty cool. And you get an alternate mission at the beginning of the game with each house. And I think it's the only alternate mission. But yeah, that's cool as well. If you're really into the game, I suggest you do that. And it was cool to see the Ravenclaw house and the Hufflepuff house, because those are houses you never see in the movies, right? You never get to go inside those houses. You see the inside of Slytherin's house in the movie and Gryffindor's house, but you never see the other two. So, that's just cool, to actually go there and see it. I just like that aspect of this game a lot. Like I said before, I don't feel like the game overstays its welcome. I feel like it's the perfect length for a big open world like this, because I feel like there's a problem with open world games where they just put too much. They just overstay their welcome. Games that are over 100 hours long, you really got to dial that back because ain't nobody got time for that. We need games that respect gamers' time, and I feel like this game did do that. I felt like there was enough enemy variety and combat variety to, mix it up a lot and get you through it. As for the story, I felt the story was engaging enough to get you through the game. Nothing mind-blowing, but that's the thing with video game stories. It's very rare that you come across a video game story that just absolutely takes over the experience and it's the best part of the game, right? Games that do that are like Detroit Become Human, or the Uncharted series, where the story is the reason you're playing the game, right? Games like Ghost of Tsushima, excellent story and open world, and it respects your time. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And I feel like Hogwarts Legacy is kind of in that same camp with that. I liked all the aspects of the game. I even liked the Room of Requirement, the special room you get in the game, where you can put your Fantastic Beast set, and you collect some beasts in the game. And when I first got into that room, I was worried that there was going to be tons and tons of animals you were going to have to get, hundreds of Pokemon or whatever. But they didn't do that. There's only I would say, maybe 20 different animals, maybe, to collect. There's only one phoenix, right, to collect. And you will, if you want to, platinum the game like I did, you will get all the animals very easily. It's not that difficult at all. And they mark them on the map too, so you know where they are. That's another cool thing about the game is that the map isn't really cluttered with a bunch of shit. Excuse my French. It tells you what you need to know. It tells you where the special animals are and stuff like that. And you don't have to earn that. Like a lot of games, you'll have to earn the right to know the location of basic stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? You'll have to get like some kind of map that tells you like where the stuff is on the map. And this game kind of like skips that. You don't really need that. I appreciate that. Just little details like that I like a lot. Yeah, man, can I gloat about the combat a little bit? I mean, I had a lot of fun with the combat. This is definitely a step up from Mad Max. I mean, if you played Mad Max, you know the combat was a 2-button system. You had hit, heavy attack, and block, I think. I think that's all you had in Mad Max. I don't even think you had a block in Mad Max, but yeah, so the combat much better here in Hogwarts Legacy. Lots of different combinations of spells you can use. You use the D-pad to select what spells you want, and you get 4 different sets, so you can switch between them during combat. And it can get really wild the combinations you can do with these spells, like you can go on a 100-hit combo, which you have to do to get a certain trophy in the game. And I felt the easiest way to do that, this is a little insider, easiest way to get the 100-hit combo is to fight the 2 trolls on the river that's north of the map early in the game, like when you're like level 15, That's the easiest way to get the 100-hit combo for you guys that are listening to this trying to get the platinum. That's the easiest way. It'll take you like 10 minutes that way. But anyway, yeah, combat, very intuitive, very easy to understand. It's not very complicated. It seems complicated at first. Like you get tons of spells and you're like, how am I going to use all these? And then you realize, the wheel you have to, mix and match your spells and how to use it in combat. And it becomes intuitive as you play. So, I got no problems with combat. Boss fights can be very easy in this game. I didn't have a single problem with any of the boss fights. I don't remember if there was a game difficulty setting. I know I didn't change it if there was. I usually play my games on normal all the time. Unless the game is, supposed to be played on hard. Like, some developers will say their game is meant to be played on hard. That's when I'll play it on hard. But most of the time, normal is the difficulty setting they want you to play the games at, so I just stick with that. And I usually don't have a problem. And the only times I died in Hogwarts Legacy is when I fell off a cliff that was too high up and I didn't have my broom yet, early on in the game. I never really died in combat because you get, your widget potions that are health potions and you can carry up to 25 of them. So, if your health bar is going down, you just press down on the D-pad and you get health, and you'll never really die if you just stay aware of where your health bar's at. You'll never die. And you can grow your health potions in your room of requirement at your potion stations. So that stuff's cool. I really like customizing the room of requirement too. I probably was in there for a few hours just customizing, putting, rugs down, putting stuff on the walls, putting all my stations up. I put a lot of work into that. I totally hit the level cap, did everything there was to do in my first playthrough. I ran into a bug with one of the quests, which if you might saw that video earlier on my channel, but the developers actually fixed that. So that's fixed now. So developers are still maintaining the game. They're still polishing it and fixing it whenever they can. So that's nice to know that they didn't, abandon the game when it comes out, which happens sometimes. But this game sold very well. I think this already sold more copies than Elden Ring. And Elden Ring was a huge game, I think, last year. Or was it the year before? It was one of those years. It was a huge game when it came out. Sold 17 million copies in the first few months it was out. And I think Hogwarts Legacy has already surpassed it, or it's close to it, which is very impressive because it's only been out for a few months as well. So yeah, I do expect the developers to keep maintaining the game, and they're doing an excellent job of that. The puzzles in the game aren't too challenging. I had to look up a couple. There was these puzzles where you go into these treasure vaults and it's like a chess, board. And I was like, where do I put the empty piece? How do I get the missing piece? And then you realize you have to change it, a piece of furniture into a chess piece and then you can move it. So it was stuff like that where I just didn't know what they wanted me to do. And, you look it up once with one YouTube video that's a minute long and you figure it out and you never have to look it up again. That's the only problem I have with the puzzles is that sometimes you just didn't know what to do. Right? You had to look up, what was the first thing I had to do in the puzzle? And then I could figure out the puzzle, That happened a couple times with a couple of the puzzles where it just wasn't clear what you were supposed to do at all. And not that much of a big deal. A lot of the times with puzzles, I will try it like for maybe like 10 minutes and I'll be like, all right, I'm going to look it up because I'm not going to spend an hour on a puzzle, right? I'll try it a little bit, and if I can't figure it out in 10 minutes, I'm looking it up. A lot of the times I do get the puzzles, but in this game, I just felt like maybe the design there wasn't quite polished enough. So maybe they could have worked better on that. Or maybe even less puzzles. Maybe that would have been better. But then again, I did 100% it. I did go to all the treasure vaults and stuff. So I probably saw more puzzles than anybody else playing the game. Because I imagine most people will just play through the story, play through the side missions, and you'll only see probably a handful of puzzles that way. If you're like me and you did all the extra shit, you saw a lot more puzzles. Anyway, all that aside, I totally enjoyed the open world. I felt like I spent way more time in the first section of the open world, where the Hogwarts castle is and that side of the open world. And then later in the game, probably like the last third of the game, they open up this whole other section and you go through there. And that's a lot quicker. Like I only spent, it felt like maybe 10 hours in there max, the second last section of the game, right? So the game really speeds up towards the end. And I do appreciate that. They're not wasting your time. The game is coming to a conclusion. You don't have to play it for 100 hours. Unless you love it, like I loved it, so I spent 60 to 70 hours in it. So I recommend this game to everybody. It's fantastic. And there's a bunch of sequences in this game that remind me of, Arkham Asylum and, Arkham Knight, the Arkham games where, the Mad Hatter sections in those games. There's a section like that in this Harry Potter game that is trippy as hell and kind of scary. Like you're like trapped in this like other dimension and you got to find your way out. And there's some other sections of the game where they completely change the graphics and it's like all black and white and stuff and it just looks completely different. So they have fun a few times in this game and they mix up the graphics and stuff and, they try to change up, what you're looking at, which is cool as hell. Oh, and if you're scared of spiders, you're probably not going to like this game. Tons of spiders. You got to kill like over 100 spiders in this game. You know what I'm saying? Like tons and tons of spiders you got to kill. I did not like going into those sections where it's just a giant like spider cave and it's just constant spiders and big spiders and stuff. At first, yeah, that stuff was really scaring me. Towards the end of the game, I was, not scared of it anymore because I've killed 100 spiders by then, so. But at the beginning, I was a little nervous going into the spider dens. So, I like that a lot. This game is a single-player game, which I am a single-player gamer. I like it for that reason right there. This is what I feel like video games should be. I am not a fan of like multiplayer, like Fortnite, crap games that just waste your time. And I know not every game can be this experience that totally engulfs you and gets you invested into a world and its narrative and characters. I know not every game can be that, but when they do happen, you really gotta appreciate it. And honestly, I do want games to get a little shorter. I feel like if your game's like 60 hours to do everything, I feel like that's the max, I don't want games that are over 100 hours. I played a game like Death Stranding. It took me 150 hours to beat that game. And I didn't mind because I really like that game. That's a special case, right? But most of the time, I will never play a game that's that long unless I am 100% invested in what the game is doing, right? Which is not that often. And here with Hogwarts Legacy, I think it was a good balance. I think if it was any longer, I probably would have turned on the game. I probably been like, you're wasting my time. But it didn't. It got me reinterested into the Harry Potter world. I read the books as a kid, watched the movies growing up, and then I, never did anything Harry Potter related after that. Even the Fantastic Beasts movies, I didn't watch them. I still haven't watched them. And this game made me rewatch the Harry Potter movies again. Got me wanting to go back into that world even more after playing the game. So I think that's the greatest achievement it has, is getting people reinterested in Harry Potter. And then they announced there's going to be a Harry Potter TV series now. They're going to like remake the Harry Potter movies in TV format. Each movie's going to be its own season and stuff. And I feel like this game's going to help that out a lot. This game has gotten people reinterested in Harry Potter. I think that's the biggest accomplishment it could have. For me, this game is a 9 out of 10. Not that many faults with it. I enjoyed the combat throughout. I enjoy that you can stealth your way through a lot of segments of the game. I thought that was really funny. I really enjoyed the open world. I really liked the castle. Like, I just loved going through the castle. I was playing on PS5, so the load times were pretty quick. Sometimes a door would like have to load for like maybe like 5 seconds so it could load up the outside part of the world. That would only happen like if I was running through the castle, like going really fast, and the game just couldn't catch up for a second. So it needed that extra second to catch up, you know. But other than that, I had a good time with it. I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10 because the narrative was just good enough to get you through it. I can't really remember exactly some things that happened. The Sebastian storyline was probably the best in the game, when he's trying to save his little sister from a curse. So he goes to the dark side and tries to learn some cursed spells to uncurse her, you know. That was probably the best storyline in the game. But the main story, you know, it was about the founders, and it was about stopping this goblin, Ragnarok, from getting a powerful spell that the founders locked away underneath Hogwarts Castle. It's a spell that can heal anybody of, like, bad feelings, you know? Like, it could take, like, any of their bad feelings out of them. But it could also take, like, their soul out of them, you know? Like, oh, no. It could take away people's pain. That's what it was. But in the process of taking away their pain, you're taking away their soul as well. It's very ethereal, I guess you could say. But yeah, I enjoyed that. Is it the best story of all time? No. But it's definitely good enough to get you through it. I highly recommend everybody play this game. It's a fantastic game. One of my favorite games of the year so far. Right now, I'm playing Rage 2 because it was free on the PlayStation Premium. And also downloaded Jurassic Park Evolution, which was made by the guys who made Planet Coaster. So that game's really good as well right now. So there's a couple of different games I'm playing right now. Maybe we'll do some live streams with those. Anyway, that's it for now. Loved Hogwarts Legacy. The best Harry Potter game there's ever been. Even better than that Quidditch game. And I love that Harry Potter Quidditch game. But this game is dope. You know, that's probably why it gets a 9 out of 10, is because you don't play Quidditch in it. And you do fly. That's the best part of the game. I used my broom a shit ton when I got it. I was flying everywhere in the game. I love flying. There's no excuse anymore. There needs to be a Superman game. They figured out how to fly in an open world. There needs to be a Superman game now. That's the next game. What are we waiting for? You know, Rocksteady, why are we wasting time on a Suicide Squad game when we could have a Superman game? We can fly around easily. That's what this Hogwarts Legacy game has proven as well. They can make games where you can fly. I know I didn't really talk about the flying much in this review, but yeah, that is stellar as well. I love the flying in this game. It works well. I really only use the broom. They give you some other ways of flying, but I don't use like the giant like winged horse. I didn't use that very much. I just like the broom because I felt like it was quick. You know, it just pops out, you go. You know, it felt like the game was really made for the broom and not the other things that they let you fly with. But anyway, that's it for now. 9 out of 10. Love the game. Can't wait to see what Avalanche does next. Comment below, let me know what you thought of Hogwarts Legacy. Did you beat it? Did you platinum it? Did you give up on it? Let us know in the comments below. And remember to unsubscribe if you don't like honesty. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.